In our previous session, we created this pinch pot for our jack-o'-lantern. Now in this session, we're going to go ahead and start to form it and shape it a little bit more, rounding it off. On the inside of this pinch pot, I'm pushing my thumb up the middle to push out the center of our pinch pot. At the same time, I'm using my hand to pull the rim back a little bit to keep it round. Now the bottom of this pinch pot is going to end up being the top of the pumpkin's head, so we want to make sure that's also nice and rounded off. And the opening will serve as the bottom, which will cover a tea light. So mostly we're going to be turning this pinch pot and slowly pushing the center of this pinch pot outwards, kind of stretching the clay with our thumb as we pull the rim of the clay or the rim of the cup inward. Now I'm going to start to taper in the rim just a little bit. So I'm tapering it in and pulling and folding over some of the clay around the rim. But we want to be careful not to make it too small. We just want to try to round off the entire shape, make it look like a pumpkin, but we need to make sure to leave at least a minimum of a 2-inch opening on the bottom. So we're pulling that clay around the rim in together a little bit tighter, pinching it together, and in some cases folding it and kind of spreading that clay over to get rid of the creases. Now I'm going to address the top of this again a little bit more and just try to keep a nice round shape throughout. We can kind of test fit this tea light a little bit, keeping in mind that the clay will shrink about 10%. So we're going to need to make the opening of this just a little bit bigger. So if we measure our tea light, it's about 1.5 inches wide and 1.5 inches long. So we know we want to keep at least 2 inches on the opening and 2 inches for depth in order to fit this tea light once the clay shrinks. As we work and the clay gets drier and drier, the clay starts to shrink. And it'll shrink again once we fire the clay at the bisque stage. Now that we got our pinch pot rounded to the shape of a pumpkin and we know it fits our tea light, the next thing to do is just to smooth out any of the bumps and lumps and get it ready for our carving and adding our details. In our next video, we'll add our designs and details and carve our pumpkin. Thank you for watching.